A very energetic morning to all my loving students. As we know, our half-yearly exam going to be begun very soon. So we need to revise all the topics. Already before in previous classes we have revised life process. And now today we have a second chapter heredity. The heredity and inherited traits. The Mendel experiments sex determination. All things are referred to the transmission of the character from the parent to offspring. An inherited trait is a particular genetical determined feature that distinguishes a person from to the other. For example, a test of free ear lobes in human beings. That is called heredity. There are some rules for the inheritance traits. So Mendel's contribution, the rules of inheritance of trait in human beings are related to the fact that both mother and father contribute an equal amount of genetic material, DNA to their offspring. So an offspring will get two version of that trait from the two parents. Mendel worked out the rules of inheritance of these traits. Gregor John Mendel, regarded as the father of genetics, performed his experiment with the garden pea, Pisum sativum, in the garden behind his monastery. He observed a number of contrasting characters in the garden pea and observed their inheritance. There were some important terms. First was the chromosomes are long threaded like the structure present in the nucleus of the cell, which contain heredity information of the cell in the form of gene. Second, DNA is a chemical in the chromosomes which carries the trait in a coded form. Gene is the part of the chromosomes which control a specific biological function. Next, contrasting character, a pair of visible characters such as the tall and dwarf, white and violet flower, round and wrinkled seed, green and yellow seeds, etc. Dominant trait. The term dominant trait means the character which expresses itself in a FT generation. In the dominant trait, example, tallness is a dominant character in a pea plant. Recessive trait, the character which does not express itself, what is present in the generation, is called recessive trait. For example, dwarfism in the pea plant. Homozygous, a condition in which both the gene of the same type of are present or examples. An organism has both the gene for the tallness, it is expressed as the TT, and the gene from the dwarfness or the retinous small t. Heterozygote, a condition in which both the gene are different type of example. An organism has the T, capital T and small t. It means it has a gene for the tallness and the other for the dwarfness only. The tall character is expressed. Then genotype, its genetic makeup of the individual. For the example, a pure tall plant is expressed as the TT and the hybrid tall plants as capital T and small t. Phenotype, it is the external appearance for the organism. For example, a plant having capital T and small t composition will appear tall, although it is gene for the dwarfness. Homologous pair of a character are those in which one member is contributed by the father and other member by the mother, and both have the gene for the same character at the same position. So Mendel has done some experiment. He started his experiment on the pea plant. He conducted first monohybrid, then the dihybrid crosses. So in monohybrid cross, the cross in which Mendel shows inheritance of dominant and recessive character is the monohybrid cross. To observe inheritance of a single pair of contrasting character, he has taken a tall plant and dwarf plant. He has crossed and he show that in first generation in F1 all the plants was tall, but in that dwarfism also was the present. He took pure tall plant and pure dwarf plant and cross the pollinated them to obtain first generation or first filial generation. In this figuration, the first generation he obtained only tall plant. This means that only one the parental traits was the seen, not the mixture of the two. The plants of F1 generation or progeny are then self-pollinated to obtain F2 generation or progeny. Now all the plants were not tall, obtained 75% tall plant and 25% dwarf plants. The phenotype ratio was 3 is to 1, means 3 plants were tall and 1 plant was dwarf. This indicates that in F generation both tall and dwarf traits were inherited, but tallness expressed itself, and tallness is a dominant trait and dwarfness is the recessive traits. F2 generation has a genotype ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1 of 3 types of plant represented by the capital T and capital T and a small t as shown in the cross. So the conclusion was that phenotype ratio tall dwarf 3 is to 1, genotype ratio pure tall hybrid tall pure dwarf was 1 is to 2 is to 1. So that's all for today. In next class we will learn about the law of dominance, and this all the laws you have to prepare well for your half yearly examination as well as for board examination. Thank you and have a nice day.